You're planning on selling your home, and before it's even active on the market, your agent gives you the great news that you've received an incredible offer from a buyer, sight unseen. This has to be great news, right? I'm Peter Boscas with Red Cedar Real Estate, and in this video, we're going to discuss why accepting an offer from a buyer who's never seen the house is probably a terrible idea, regardless of how good the offer is. In our previous video, we explained the concept of a sight unseen offer from the buyer's perspective. This is when a buyer makes an offer on a property without ever actually having seen it in person. In that video, we discussed whether or not this practice was a good idea for buyers. And if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, it's not. But it may be just as bad an idea or worse from the seller's perspective. As a seller, let's say you've hired a real estate agent to sell your home, and the agent has announced to the agent community and possibly online that your house will be available for sale at some point in the coming weeks. Typically, they would do this by circulating that information just within their own office, which we explained at length in our office exclusive videos detailing why this is a horrifically bad idea for a seller. So this, first of all, would be a red flag. But the agent may have also listed your home as coming soon in the MLS, which would publish this information to any real estate agent in the area who subscribes to the multiple list service. Most agents are listing homes as coming soon before professional pictures, video, and other marketing materials are available to publish. And in most of these cases, the agent is simply posting a few exterior photos of the home they may have taken with their cell phone. At this stage in the process, the actual information available to potential buyers is very limited. They haven't seen a true visual representation of the house, they likely have no idea of the size or layout of the rooms, and they certainly have no clue as to the condition of the home. But believe it or not, because of the lack of inventory in the market at the moment, there will be buyers willing to make very aggressive offers on your home at this point in the process. The philosophy of these buyers is that they'll be willing to overpay for the house simply to get it under contract without having to get into a bidding war on the property where they may lose out. Normally, these early offers will be very aggressive because the buyers know that you, as the seller, will have lots of offers to choose from once the house is actively on the market. So they need to blow you away with their offer for you to even consider not letting other buyers see the house. It's important to understand the sole benefit to the buyers to do this is that you as the seller are agreeing to sell the property before ever letting it hit the market. This means you will never know if there were other more qualified or more aggressive buyers who would have made higher offers if the property was made available for all buyers to see. It also means the property will be changed in the MLS from coming soon to under contract for all buyers and agents to see. And keep that in mind for later, it's important. From the seller's perspective, this may not seem like a bad idea if the offer is aggressive enough. After all, getting a great offer without having to have buyers tour the house sounds ideal. But these offers have a high level of risk associated with them, and the reward is completely unknown because you would never know what the other buyers in the market would have offered. Let's talk about the next steps of the sight unseen offer process to really see how this can unfold badly for you as the seller. Once under contract, the buyers will start their due diligence period, and this may include a home inspection, appraisal, and depending on your community, a review of the HOA or condo documents and bylaws. Depending on how the buyer's offer is structured, each of these contingencies may trigger an optional cancellation of the contract where the buyer can back out with no penalty to them. For instance, if the buyer's included an as-is inspection clause, they would have the opportunity to have the home inspected, and during that period, they can cancel the contract without even letting you know what their potential concerns were. Likewise, a buyer can cancel the contract within 5 days of receiving the HOA documents for any reason at all, and they can walk away from the sale with their deposit, leaving you as the seller with nothing to show for having accepted their contract. And this is where the big potential issues come into play. Keep in mind that after the sight unseen offer has been signed, the buyers will now be seeing the house for the first time during their home inspection. Many of these buyers are using this time in the home as if it was a traditional house tour. In a normal process, once your house is listed, you may have as many as 100 buyers or more tour your home. But that doesn't mean you're going to get 100 offers. Not every house is the right house for every buyer. So the odds are fairly decent that your home won't end up being the right home for the buyers who made that sight unseen offer. And so the sight unseen buyers are now having their first look at your home in person, despite already agreeing to buy it. At this inspection visit, if the buyer doesn't like the layout, the decor, the road noise from the backyard, or any of the other 100 reasons buyers decide they don't care for a particular home, they can likely cancel the contract at this point without any penalty. Although that may be disappointing, as the seller you may think you haven't lost out on anything since the house hadn't been on the market yet anyway. And after all, you can still list the property for sale normally, and that is absolutely true with one caveat. buyers will now be able to see that the house had been under contract, but a previous buyer backed out. In the current market, and really any market, that adds a stigma to a property. The other buyers will wonder why the previous buyers backed out and almost always assume it's because there's some problem with the house that came up during the home inspection. This has a few negative effects. The first is that there will be buyers who flat out decide not to tour the property, assuming it has issues. And for the buyers who do decide to tour, their guard will be up, and they may not be willing to be as aggressive as they would have been without that stigma attached to the house. Properties that come back on the market after being under contract have a tendency to sell for less than the original contract. And that's where a sight unseen offer can ultimately hurt you. With a sight unseen offer, in a best case situation, you would have sold the property to buyers who never saw the property without ever knowing if there were other buyers who would have offered more money or more compelling terms than the sight unseen offer you accepted. In a worst case situation, the sight unseen buyers tie up the house for some period of time while the house is under contract, then cancel the sale, essentially wasting that time, and then future buyers are more hesitant in writing strong offers. One thing to keep in mind is the same buyers who made the sight unseen offer will very likely make an offer when the house hits the market if you don't accept their sight unseen offer. Look at it this way. If the buyers are so interested in the house that they're willing to make an aggressive offer without ever seeing it, of course they're going to tour it when it's on the market. And they'll make the same aggressive offer once they have competition. Now, if those same buyers decide not to write an offer or withdraw their sight unseen offer after they've seen the house in person when it's on the market, you've actually saved yourself a lot of time and headache because obviously that wasn't the right house for them after all. From a listing agent's perspective, having a seller accept a sight unseen offer is so much less work. They won't have to coordinate showings with buyer's agents, they won't have to solicit feedback from showings, and they'll save a lot of time and energy not having to sort through and compare all of the offers you would have received if you had let the house hit the market. It also helps the agent market their own services because now they can claim they sold your house in 0 days, which helps their own average days on market statistics. But just because something is good for your agent doesn't always mean it's good for you as the seller. So if your agent suggests accepting a sight unseen offer, ask them what their rationale is and why they think that's a better alternative than opening the house up to the entire market. If you'd like to get more insight into the crazy behind the scenes aspects of real estate, be sure to like and subscribe and turn on alerts for our channel so you'll be updated when we publish new videos.